Good morning and welcome to Breakfast News, the perfect show to kickstart your day where we bring you the national and international sports and business news. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Let us begin with the headlines. India-Iran sign agreement to develop Chabahar port, a trilateral agreement including Afghanistan signed for transport and transit corridor. Prime Minister hails historic agreements as he wraps up his two-day visit. Sarvanand Sonowal to be sworn in as new Chief Minister of Assam. Prime Minister among dignitaries to be present. Kerala Governor invites Pinarayi Vijayan to form the next government. Some respite from the heat. Rains in several parts of the country bring down temperatures considerably. At least 150 people killed and 200 others wounded after a chain of attacks in Syrian cities of Tartus and Jable. And the United States says that it respects Pakistan's sovereignty but will continue to target terrorists who hurt American interests. Pakistan summons US envoy to register protest over US drone strike in its territory that killed Afghan Taliban leader Mullah Mansoor. Well, President Mukherjee will be leaving today for a 4-day visit to China with an aim to further broaden ties between the two Asian economic giants. He will deliberate on a range of key issues, including the contentious ones with the Chinese leadership. The president will be meeting his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Also, he'll meet Premier Li Keqiang and other top leaders. President Mukherjee is likely to raise the issue of China blocking India's bid to get a UN ban on JEM chief Masood Azhar and its stand that New Delhi must sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty or the NPT to get a membership of the elite NSG or the Nuclear Suppliers Group. Now, the lingering boundary issue may also figure in the talks. A key engagement of the president will be a roundtable of vice chancellors of Chinese and Indian universities. Now, a number of MOUs will be signed between academic institutions of both the nations.
And our friendly contacts, deepen the mutual understanding and friendship between our two peoples, and make sure we will always be friends to each other.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrapped up his two-day Iran tour on Monday. The highlight of the event, of course, was the bilateral agreement on the development of the Chabahar port. Well, apart from that, a trilateral agreement with Iran and Afghanistan was also signed on a transit corridor. Modi said that the agreements are a historic step in developing the entire region.
Many days of separation are over. Night of wait is coming to an end. Our friendship will stay forever.
A bilateral agreement bringing together India and Iran on the developing of the strategic Chabahar port into a transit hub, signed in Tehran.
We are all witnessing creation of history, not just for the people of our three countries, but for the entire region.
The port will assist India to bypass Pakistan and give it access to Afghanistan and Europe. India is investing $500 million for the development of phase 1 of the port.
The agreement of the establishment of a trilateral transport and transit corridor signed just a while ago can alter the course of history of this region.
Chabahar port, located in the Sistan-Baluchistan province on the energy-rich Persian Gulf nation's southern coast, lies outside the Persian Gulf and is easily accessed from India's western coast, bypassing Pakistan. Besides this, India was also party to a trilateral agreement with Iran and Afghanistan on the transport and transit corridor around the Chabahar port.
تصمیم امروز و توافق امروز بر علیه هیچ کشوری نخواهد بود و اون چه فعالیت سه کشور هست به نفع کل منطقه و به ویژه به نفع صلح و ثبات منطقه خواهد.
I thank them because they believe that Afghanistan is going to be stable and they're wagering on our stability, not on our destruction.
Besides the two agreements, India and Iran also pledged to combat terrorism and radicalism. Apart from that, agreements on further deepening ties in the fields of economy, trade, culture, science and academic cooperation were also signed.
We have agreed to consult closely and regularly on combating threats of terrorism, radicalism, drug trafficking and cybercrime.
Before wrapping up his two-day tour, Prime Minister Modi called on Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Khamenei has a final say over matters related to Iran's foreign policy and key issues. Modi gifted Khamenei a rare 7th century manuscript of the Holy Quran. The Prime Minister also inaugurated an international conference that is part of the Cultural Festival of India and Iran. He released a Persian manuscript to highlight the centuries-old cultural ties between the two countries. Modi later departed for India after wrapping up what is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Iran in 15 years. Qurban Ali's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
News from Assam, and Sarbanand Sonowal will be sworn in as the Chief Minister of the state today. A host of dignitaries, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP President Amit Shah, are slated to attend the ceremony at the Khanpara field. Now, Sonowal has also requested outgoing Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi to attend the ceremony. On Monday, Assam Governor Padmanabha Balakrishna Acharya dissolved the 16th Assam Assembly with effect from 21st of May. Now, BJP and its alliance partner, remember, had won 86 seats in the 126-member assembly, putting an end to the Congress-led rule in the state for the last 15 years. Meanwhile, in Kerala, Governor Justice retired P. Sadasivam has invited Pinarayi Vijayan to form the next government in the state. Now, Vijayan was elected leader of the Left Democratic Front, or the LDF legislature party. In the 140-member Kerala Assembly, LDF has 91 MLAs, including CPM's 58, CPI's 19 and 5 of the CPM IND. Vijayan's name was suggested by Party Secretary Kodiri Balakrishnan as per the decision of the State Assembly, and it was approved by all the MLAs. After the meeting, Balakrishnan met the governor and staked the claim of LDF to form the next government and handed over a letter intimating the election of Vijayan as the leader of the LDF parliamentary party and the expression of support from legislature parties, leaders of other constituents of the LDF as well. Now, the swearing-in ceremony of the proposed cabinet will be held at 4 p.m. on 25th of May. And now, putting an end to the speculations that the left secular democratic alliance with the Congress as a key partner would cease to exist. Now, the two parties on Monday categorically said that their tie-up in West Bengal will continue. Now, Congress said that the alliance was not only formed for this election and that the two parties will fight unitedly against the TMC in future as well. Leaders of the CPIM-led Left Front and the Congress jointly paid a visit to State Governor K.N. Tripathi. They also submitted a memorandum over the post-poll violence across the state. The much-touted alliance managed to bag only 76 seats in the assembly election, whereas the TMC won an overwhelming 211 seats in the 294-member House. Let's now bring you the weather update. In Delhi and its surrounding areas witnessed a thunderstorm and heavy rains on Monday, bringing some respite from the heat wave that has been sweeping North India and other parts of the country as well. Rains were also experienced in several other states. Here is a report. With most parts of the country reeling under extreme heat as temperatures hovered around 45 degrees for the past 2 weeks, the brief rains on Monday brought much relief. Temperature fell by more than 10 degrees in northern India after dust storms followed by rains hit the region. While Kurukshetra in Haryana received rains causing a dip in temperature to 35 degrees Celsius, the temperature in Shimla plummeted to 19 degrees Celsius. The Met Department attributed the sudden change in weather to western disturbance in the northwest part of the country.
आज वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस एक आया है जो इस समय पाकिस्तान और जम्मू कश्मीर के ऊपर है और उसकी वजह से एक साइक्लोनिक सर्कुलेशन पंजाब के आसपास बना। ऐसे में जब हीटिंग होती है और मॉइस्चर होता है और साथ में सर्कुलेशन बन जाए, हवाएं घूमना शुरू कर दें, तो घने बादल और गहरे बादल बन जाते हैं। बिल्कुल वही फिनोमेना आज हरियाणा में और दिल्ली में इस समय देखा जा रहा है।
Strong winds also lashed the national capital, where temperature had hit 41 degrees Celsius in the afternoon. The brief spell of rains brought the temperature down to 30 degrees Celsius. Afternoon showers in Kolkata and most parts of West Bengal also brought some relief from heat. However, waterlogging was witnessed in a number of areas, throwing traffic out of gear. The Met Office said the weather is likely to be cloudy with rains predicted for today as well. This year's summer has been harsh as temperature in most parts of the country has risen by several degrees above normal, leading to deaths. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Well, rains may have brought some relief, but India's drought crisis is not over. Rajasthan's Ajmer district is in the grip of a severe drought, with residents surviving on water provided only by tankers for months now, while many people are leaving villages rather in search of work. Here's a special report by Rajya Sabha TV's Arvind Kumar Singh. One of the largest districts of Rajasthan, Ajmer, has a glorious heritage. It includes the world-famous symbol of Hindu-Muslim unity, the Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti Shrine, the annual Pushkar Fair, many excellent water bodies and a huge lake. But these days, the population of over 25 million is thirsty. Nasirabad is the worst affected. Tanks have no water and the large pond in Chhat, a village of 600 people, is completely dry. Both human beings and animals are suffering.
बहुत दिक्कत है, पानी के पीने के लिए तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम है। अभी 4 दिन 5 दिन से नल आता है, तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम, जानवरों को पानी पिलाने के लिए प्रॉब्लम हो रही है। बारिश का पानी बिल्कुल आया नहीं, कुछ तालाब में, कुछ तो कुएं भी सूख रहे हैं।
Farming has already been a casualty for some time. Farm laborers have no work. People from almost 1,176 villages are engaged in a desperate flight from home in search of work. Water is supplied for 1 hour once every 8 days, or at times even 10 days. The same is true of power supply. Animals are getting the worst of it.
पानी मतलब टाइम पर आ नहीं पा रहा है, विशेष करके कि हम तो मतलब टैंकर डलवा के ही पी लेंगे, लेकिन जानवरों के लिए हमको बहुत परेशानी है, घास की और पानी की। वो सरकार से हम ये कहना चाहते हैं कि जैसे गरीब लोग हैं तो उनकी थोड़ी मदद हो जाए तो अच्छी बात है, क्योंकि जानवरों का और उनका देखभाल बड़ी मुश्किल से होता है।
The heat wave not only broke a 50-year-old record, it has imposed a curfew, forcing people to stay indoors. The government hasn't come forward with much relief. Agriculture has been destroyed to such an extent that back-to-back droughts have broken the will of farmers to invest in it.
कुल सूखा है साहब, पानी है कहीं, कोई किसी कुएं में पानी नहीं है। ये कुआं आप मौके पे जाकर भी देखोगे तो सब में बिल्कुल सूखा पड़ा है। सरकार की तरफ से कोई कुछ नहीं है।
Despite the unprecedented agrarian crisis in the countryside, the necessary government stimulus seems to be missing. The biggest problem before villagers is that of forced migration. The situation is very critical in some areas. Arvind Kumar Singh's report from Ajmer for Rajya Sabha TV. News from Kerala. Well, in a landmark judgment, the National Green Tribunal on Monday banned light and heavy diesel vehicles which are more than 10 years old in 6 municipal corporations in the state. The ban has been imposed in 6 major cities of Kerala, including the state capital Thiruvananthapuram and commercial capital Kochi. The tribunal also directed the state government not to register any diesel vehicle in the capacity of 2000 cc and more, except public transport and local authority vehicles. Now, a fine of 5,000 rupees will be imposed by the traffic police if any vehicle is found to be in violation of the new direction. Both the State Police and Pollution Control Board will maintain separate accounts in this regard, and the funds will be utilized for the betterment of environment in these cities. Well, the issue was ordered because of a petition filed by Lawyers Environmental Awareness Forum. The forum sought action against highly polluting diesel vehicles such as trucks and buses. It also noted that Kochi and other major cities of Kerala have earned the reputation of being the most polluted cities.
About 2000 cc diesel car, more than 10 years old, plying in particular town, especially Trivandrum, Kochi, Kollam, Calicut and Kannur. And also made a specific direction. Within 30 days, these vehicles may not be plied in these cities.
This verdict came as a surprise to us because when we took the statistics of the outcome of this decision, we found that about 2 lakhs vehicles, about 200,000 vehicles have to be withdrawn from the public roads in a month. So then there will be a big vacuum. So who will fill up this one?
And right now we'll slip into a very short break. News and updates continue on the other side as well. Stay tuned.
Mega spectrum auctions of 2016, which we hope to have around July of this year, will put spectrum in enough quantity on the table. 100,000 gram panchayats would be connected with 100 Mbps, which is huge speeds. Next couple of years, India will become a hub for the manufacture of mobile phones. I expect a figure of 500 million mobile phones to be manufactured in India by 2018-19.
What Telecom Secretary J.S. Deepak articulate in State of the Economy on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Now, with the return of Kashmiri pundits topping the agenda of Narendra Modi government, Union Minister Jitendra Singh favoured the creation of a conducive atmosphere for Kashmiri pundits to go back to the valley. Jitendra Singh suggested, and I quote him now, "I would say that I'm strongly in favour of the return of Kashmiri pundits, but of course the return has to be with dignity and with security, and we have to create an atmosphere where the pundits feel prompted and inspired to go back to their place of birth." Quote unquote. He also hoped that the PDP-BJP government in Jammu and Kashmir would take into consideration the priorities and concerns of the community and lay down conditions for their return. There are about 62,000 registered Kashmiri Pandit families in the country who migrated from the valley due to the onset of militancy in the state in the early 1990s. The minister's comments come after the state government recently conveyed to the Centre for assessment of at least 3 sites identified by it in Jammu and Kashmir for setting of colonies for the displaced Kashmiri Pandits. More news from Jammu and Kashmir. And Srinagar witnessed 2 terror attacks on Monday morning, the first in as many as 3 years. Now, 3 policemen lost their lives in the attacks, which were carried out by the militants of Hizbul Mujahideen group. Security has now been beefed up across the valley to ward off further such attempts by the militants.
Within a space of 2 hours, heavily armed terrorists carried out 2 attacks in Srinagar, killing 3 policemen. In the Zadebal area, terrorists on motorcycles shot at police officers standing at a tea stall near their post. An assistant sub-inspector and a head constable were killed after being shot at from a close range. In the second attack at Tangpora, terrorists shot dead a policeman posted as a personal security guard to Muhammad Abdullah Chatwal, the chairman of the Jammu and Kashmir Pasmanda Tabqa Jat. The assailants also snatched the service rifle of the policeman.
पिछले कई महीनों से जो हिजबुल मुजाहिदीन और लश्कर तैयबा के खिलाफ जो हमारे ऑपरेशंस है उसमें काफ़ी टेररिस्ट जो है वो न्यूट्रलाइज हुए हैं, तो एक डेस्परेशन के तौर पे उन्होंने जो रूटीन पेट्रोलिंग ड्यूटी या रूटीन ट्रैफिक रेगुलेशन ड्यूटीज पे जो कांस्टेबल्स या ऑफिसर्स तैनात होते हैं उन पे अटैक किया.
The attacks by the Hizbul Mujahideen in downtown Srinagar are the first after nearly 3 years. Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti assured strict action while paying tribute to the dead policemen. The centre put security agencies on high alert after the incident. News reports say that in the last 4 months, as many as 40 terrorists could have crossed the Pakistani border into Jammu and Kashmir.
गृह मंत्री जी और गृह मंत्रालय इसका संज्ञान लिए हुए हैं सारे घटनाक्रम का, और ये आश्वस्त करवाया गया है कि हर प्रकार की परिस्थिति से निपटने के लिए हमारी सुरक्षा सेनाएं, सुरक्षा एजेंसीज सक्षम हैं.
तकरीबन हर साल ऐसे होता है, जब गर्मियां आती हैं, जब बर्फ पिघलने लगती है, तब ऐसी वारदातें बढ़ जाती हैं. यकीन मैं कश्मीर के अवाम को, आप सबको ये दिलाना चाहता हूँ कि आर्मी, आरआर, पुलिस, सीआरपीएफ के साथ मिलकर, सब इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसियों के साथ मिलकर हम लोग पूरी मुस्तैदी से तैयार हैं ऐसे किसी भी हालात के लिए, और हम ऐसे इनके इरादे कामयाब नहीं होने देंगे।
The twin attacks in Srinagar come just 2 days after a soldier was killed in an encounter with militants in Kupwara district. 5 terrorists were also killed in that gun battle. Thousands of people attended their funeral, which observers claim could be a sign of growing restlessness in the valley. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's now bring you some international news from the Middle East. And around 150 people have been killed and at least 200 others have been hurt as 5 suicide devices and 3 car bombs exploded through the cities of Tartus and Jabal in Syria on Monday. Well, it is a highly symbolic blow against the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad by the Islamic State, which is already sparkling reprisals. Death and destruction. More than 150 people are said to have been killed and 200 wounded in bomb attacks in Syrian coastal cities of Jabal and Tartus on Monday. 5 suicide bombers and 3 car bombs went off in Syrian leader Assad's heartland. A bus station was hit in the coastal city of Tartus. This has never happened before. The war has always seemed distant here. Not today. School books in the debris after one attack among the victims. Student.
صار أول انفجار سيارة مفخخة ضمن الكراج أول صار الانفجار ردت العالم اجا واحد ثاني فجر حاله حزام ناسف اجا على باب الكراج كمان حزام ناسف ردت العالم باتجاه بالساعة 10 وقت الطلوع لطلاب المدارس.
وصلت لهون صفينا ما لحقنا نصف يعني ما في نص دقيقة طلع الانفجار. أنا واقف محل ماني واقف في سيارة خلف مني فوان شعلت والأمامي لقيت شهداء على الأرض لا فيني بقى بسحب سيارتي لا بقى فيني بعمل شيء.
50 miles along the road, more carnage at a bus stop in a hospital in the town of Jabal.
نسعف الجرحى وننزلهم فإذا نحن قربنا على السيارة وصرنا بدنا ننزل الجرحى فإذا صار انفجار داخل المشفى فلما صار الانفجار داخل المشفى فرجعنا نحن لورا.
It will alarm the Syrian government that the Islamic State can insert operatives here where security should be pervasive. Monday's attacks is also seen as a message for the government's most important ally, Russia, which operates an air base nearby.
There's going to be a revision of security. Since these guys can get so close, there should be more security. So that's standard procedure. There's going to be beefed up security at the Russian military installations.
Russian fighter bombers take off from Jabal daily, targeting opposition strongholds, some held by the Islamic State, but mostly by the other rebel groups. An IS statement said today's attacks were meant for Russians who could taste the deaths that Muslims taste from Russian airstrikes. Fighting has increased in other parts of Syria in recent weeks as world powers struggle to revive a threadbare ceasefire and resurrect peace talks that collapsed in Geneva this year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And the Islamic State wreaked havoc in the other Middle East country of Yemen as well as suicide car bombing claimed by the group killed at least 50 army recruits and injured more than 60 in the Yemeni city of Aden. The attack occurred as the recruits lined up to enlist for military service at the home of a senior general in the Khor Maksar district of Aden. The port city serves as the temporary capital of Yemen's Saudi-backed administration while it seeks to seize back the capital Sana'a from the armed Houthi group. Now, the attacks follow gains by the Yemeni government forces backed by the UAE, who mounted an offensive on Al-Qaeda militants in the southern towns beginning last month. Yemen has been under the grip of one of the most active regional Al-Qaeda insurgencies in the Middle East. Now, more than 6,000 people have been killed in ground battles and airstrikes since 2009, half of them being civilians. And in the other top international story, well, the United States has said that it will continue to target terrorists who harm its interests. Now, Washington's statement came as Pakistan summoned its envoy in reaction to the killing of Afghan Taliban leader Mullah Mansoor in its territory in a US drone strike. Now, the US has said it respects Pakistan's sovereignty but maintains that it had informed Pakistan of its move. The United States saying that while it respects Pakistan's sovereignty, it will carry out strikes to eliminate terrorists who are targeting its forces. Washington says that while the death of Mullah Mansoor does not mean defeat of the Taliban, it does send a clear message.
Mullah Mansour, as I said a moment ago, has been actively involved in planning attacks in Kabul, across Afghanistan, presenting a threat to Afghan civilians and to the coalition forces that are there.
Washington also refuting Pakistan's charge it was not informed and that the strike was a violation of its sovereignty.
We have had long-standing conversations with Pakistan and Afghanistan about this objective with respect to Mullah Mansour, and both countries' leaders were notified of the airstrike. I'm not going to get into further details about timing and TikToks. I will say to you that this morning I know that General Nicholson talked directly to General Raheel Sharif, and I talked directly to Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif.
A fuming Pakistan also summoned US Ambassador David Hale to express concern over the drone strike. Islamabad conveying to the US that the strike is also a breach of the UN's charter. However, despite Mansour's death, the dream of peace talks with Taliban seems far-fetched. While Mansour fervently opposed talks, his most likely successor, Afghan guerrilla commander Sirajuddin Haqqani, would likely prove an even more implacable foe of beleaguered Afghan government forces and their US allies. Mansour consolidated his grip by winning territory and bringing the fractured insurgency together on the battlefield. His successor will likely be tempted by the same tactic. Senior Afghan Taliban figures met on Monday to agree on Mansour's successor.
فعلا پالیسیش هم است که با دولت با حکومتی ها جنگ نکنه، روش بسیار نرم است. یک قسمت اینا ممکن با داعشی ها بپیونده و یک قسمت اینا طبعا با حرکت اسلامی ازبکستان و با حرکت ترکستان شرقی ایتم و همچنان IOM با اینا شاید بپیونده.
While the US strike on Mansour indicates impatience with Pakistan's continued proximity to the Afghan Taliban, it also shows White House frustration with the situation in Afghanistan, with US deciding disarray, chaos and even a leadership struggle preferable than a status quo. However, while Mansour's death gives an opportunity for US to provide a simple answer to those who say it is losing the war in Afghanistan, it may not bring the peace that is sought. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, that's all in this edition of news. Thanks for your time.